Hello everyone, it's me again, Musa Hassan. I hope you are all good. You are all welcome for today's lesson. I will be talking about reflexive and intensive pronouns. They are the same. They are twins. Today you'll discover what the difference between them. Here we are. They are myself, yourself, yourselves, ourselves, himself, herself, itself, and themselves. These are called reflexive pronouns. If you see my screen, the title itself is reflected on the screen. That's why they call reflexive. They reflect back. You will discover this today. Before we move on, I'd like you to understand what are pronouns. Pronouns, as I mentioned before many times, to replace. We use them to replace a noun or noun in a sentence, to replace a noun in a sentence. I'd like you to read this example with me, please. Read this example. Ali is 10 years old. Ali lives in a small town. We don't need to repeat the same noun more than 2 or 3 times. Ali is 10 years old. Ali lives in a small town. Read this. Here you can see we have Ali. Ali. We can write the same sentence but in another way. Ali, read with me please. Ali is 10 years old. He lives in a small town. You can see that. We replaced Ali with he. This is the main purpose of using noun, to replace, don't to repeat the same noun. Why we do that? Why do we need to replace the noun? To avoid repeating the same noun. And it makes your writing very interesting. That's good. Reflexive pronouns and intensive pronouns look exactly the same. You cannot, I'm sure you cannot differentiate between these two guys. They are twins. That's exactly what are the reflexive and intensive pronouns are. They look exactly the same. The question is, how can I differentiate between them? They have different functions in a sentences. They look the same, but they function different in a sentence. Different roles in sentences. They are what? Himself, herself, itself. Just while reading, notes that most of the ends in self, self. And later you discover that some of them end in selves, V-E-S. Myself, yourself, single, you. Yourselves, plural. Ourselves, themselves. I hope you notice that they all or some ends in self, itself, myself, yourself, and the others end in selves, yourselves, ourselves, themselves. That's good. Just read this example. Musa bought Musa a shirt. Don't tell me, yes, I know how you feel. Musa bought Musa a shirt. That look weird, huh? I know you are scared. This is Musa. The first Musa is what? It's the subject. And the second Musa is the object. That's why we need to use the reflexive pronoun. When the subject, listen to this carefully. When the subject and the object in the sentence are the same, we use the reflexive pronoun to reflect back. Now we need to read this sentence. Ali bought himself a shirt. Himself. Ali bought Ali a shirt. We cannot use the same noun, Ali bought Ali. So we need a reflexive pronoun to reflect back to Ali. This is called reflexive pronoun. That's good. Ali himself bought a shirt, or Ali bought a shirt himself. This is called intensive pronoun. Why we use the intensive pronoun? You will discover this for today's lesson. This is called intensive, and the first sentence is reflexive. Ali bought himself a shirt. Himself here reflects back on the subject. Who's the subject? It's Ali. That's good. Ali himself bought a book. Here, himself is to add emphasis. Himself here is telling us nobody else, just Ali. Ali himself bought a book. It is not Musa, it is not Muhammad, it is not Ammar. Ali himself. And remember this, to differentiate between them, whether this is a reflexive or intensive, just remove the pronoun from the sentence, whether it's reflexive or intensive. Read the sentence without the pronoun. If you can still understand the sentence, that's intensive. If you can remove it and the meaning is still understood. Confirmation, intensity, or it telling us not someone else, just Ali, as I mentioned. That's good. Let's move with more details into reflexive pronoun. I mentioned before, when the subject and the object of a sentence are the same. Musa bought Musa a shirt. The subject and the object are the same. Read this example. I looked at myself in the mirror. I looked at myself. Myself reflects back to I, reflexive pronoun. Try to remove myself from the sentence and read it. I looked at something. If you remove myself, try to read the sentence. I looked at in the mirror. We cannot understand the sentence. So this is a reflexive pronoun. It is needed in the sentence. That's good. Reflects back to I, as I mentioned. I is what? Is the subject. Myself is the object. I is subject, looked is the verb, myself is the object. Moving on. Before we move, I'd like you to understand what do we mean by direct object and indirect object. I hope you know what do we mean by subject, who does the action, you know the verb, what is the action, and who receives the action of the verb. That's the subject. We have direct object and indirect object. Read this sentence, please. Amjad repaired his car. Amjad repaired his car. Amjad is what? Is the subject. What he did? He repaired. That's the verb. Repaired what? Just ask yourself this question. Just take the verb. Repair. Plus what? Repair what? His car. So his car here is direct object. Or you can ask who or whom. You just take the verb of a sentence. Repair. Plus what? Repair what? Another example. I listened to music. What is the verb? Listen. Take the verb plus what? Listened to what? Music. So music is a direct object. Do we have indirect object? Yes, we do. Yes. So his car is the direct object. An indirect object cannot exist in a sentence without direct object. If we have indirect object, just be sure that there should be direct object. You can have direct object without indirect, but you cannot have indirect object without a direct object. Read this example, please. She bought her son a bike. She is what? She is the subject. What she did, she bought. The past, buy. This is the verb. Now, we have her son and we have a bike. Which one? The direct object, and which one is the indirect object? Remember, if you want to identify the direct object, just take the verb plus what or whom. Here in this time, you will take the verb plus for what or for whom. What is the verb? Bought. For what? Or for whom? She bought the bike for her son. So in this sentence, her son is what? Is the indirect object. Where is the direct? Just take the verb plus what? Bought what? A bike. So a bike is the direct object. That's good. We use reflexive or the reflexive pronoun as direct object, indirect object, and preposition, or the object of the preposition. Here we have some examples to try help you understand that. As direct object, I'm teaching myself to play the piano. Just ask, take the verb plus whom. Teaching whom? You are teaching who? Teaching myself. So myself is what? It is the direct object. Where we put it, where we use it in a sentence, directly after the verb, where the verb is teaching. After the verb, we use the reflexive pronoun. I teach myself to play the piano. This is the reflexive pronoun. If you remove myself from the sentence, you will not be able to understand the meaning. Try to read the sentence without myself. I am teaching to play the piano. Teaching whom? We need a reflexive pronoun. I'm teaching myself. That's good. As you see here, myself is directly after the verb. Moving on, as indirect object, read the sentence. My friend has bought himself a new car. My friend has bought himself a new car. Ask the question, for whom? For himself. So, for himself is indirect object. Where we put it, I'm sorry, after the verb. This is the verb bought. We use himself after the verb. As the object of preposition, I looked at myself in the mirror. At is the preposition, so we put myself after the preposition. That's good. Intensive pronouns, or they sometimes called emphatic pronoun. They, to emphasize. We use them to emphasize or to tell who did what. I'm teaching myself to play the piano. I will explain this just within these two sentences. I'm teaching myself to play the piano. Try to take myself out from the sentence. Remove myself. Read the sentence. I'm teaching to play the piano. Can we understand the sentence? No, we cannot. So this is a reflexive pronoun. Read this sentence. I will draw the picture myself. Remove myself from the sentence. Read the sentence. I draw the picture. I will draw the picture. Full stop. Can you understand the sentence? Yes, I can. This is intensive pronoun. We use it just to emphasize. It is not essential in understanding the sentence meaning. That's simply, it's very simple. To differentiate between them, try to remove myself from the sentence. If you still understand the sentence, that's intensive. If you cannot understand the sentence, it is reflexive pronoun. So someone may ask, why we're using intensive while they are not essential in a sentence? We use them to make our writing interesting. When people read you and you're writing that way, I will draw the picture myself. They will love the way you write. That's good. It refers back to another noun or pronoun in a sentence to emphasize or to tell us who is carrying out the action. Himself. Now, we have few sentences here to practice before we're done. I burnt while cooking. I burnt what? Myself. Another sentence. He made the coffee. He himself. Or you can say, he made the coffee himself. That's good. I made it. I made it myself. She closed the door herself. I hope you enjoy at the party. I hope you. The answer might be yourself or yourselves. That's good. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Please don't forget to subscribe, share my videos if you like them, and send me your questions if you have any concern. Thank you very much for your time. I hope we meet soon. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.